The algebra work comes in question 3 and question 6. Question 3, we start with the standard form. And yeah, if they need to get some practice work with numbers, if that makes them more comfortable, take this thing, expand it out, review what an exponent is. You've got the FOIL process, you've got distributing, you've got combining like terms. And you're going to write that out into the general form and just kind of remind them what the general form is. Some students may need the reminder that, oh, you've got something times x plus something times x squared plus something times x plus a constant. And the a, b, and c are those coefficients, and just have them line things up. Once they're ready and they understand this process, okay, problem B, they got to work with fractions a little bit. Might be a good time to review some fraction stuff with them, make sure they can do that. But in the end, we're just going to do the same process. So make sure they understand, okay, to do 3a and 3b, here are the steps that I did to get the answer. I used the definition of exponent to write the thing down twice so that I could FOIL, and then after the FOIL, I distributed. After I distributed, then I combined the like terms, and then I identified the coefficients, and that got me the answer. Once they're ready for that, they can go to the general case and do the same steps on the AHK. Once they do all that, they should come up with this set of formulas here. So this is one of the big things we want them to come up with, and that is the connection between ABC, AHK. Worth pointing out to the students, hey, you've accomplished something here. You have come up with a formula to calculate B if you know the H and the K. You have come up with a formula to calculate C if you know the A, H, and K. Subtle point, many students will just kind of gloss over the fact that, of course, A equals A, they're the same letter. We do need to, there's no reason to assume that this A and this A are the same A. It turns out that they are. If some students bring that up, it might be worth talking about, but it might be a thing that you can just let slide either way. I've asked them to, if you've got some time here, maybe you can take this set of equations and solve it the other way. Come up with formulas for A, H, and K based on A, B, and C. The natural thing here for the K is that K will be C minus AH squared. That's a good formula. Encourage students to plug in the value for H that they figured out to get a simplified version of K. A little more fraction work to help them there, some review of fraction work. Also worth pointing out, kind of the big picture here is you've got these two forms, and so we'd like formulas that calculate A, H, and K. Since we know what A, B, and C are, it's kind of nice if the formulas themselves just have A, B, C, and not other letters. It's okay to go the other way. I mean, this is the standard textbook approach. Figure out H first, and then you plug that back in and you figure out the K. So I think it's perfectly fine to say that K equals C minus AH squared. But if they can then simplify it to something that contains just A, B, and C, that's kind of a cleaner picture. Same thing is done in question 6. How do we get from ABC to AHK? This really is what they're writing. This is kind of the big thing I want them to write in comprehensive writing number 4. There is a formula for the x-coordinate of the vertex of a parabola. Here it is. Good to know what the formula is. Why is that the formula for H? The process they should talk about is, well, let's start with the AHK form, expand it, you get the ABC form, we get this equation B equals negative 2AH, and now I want to know what H is, so I solve this equation for H. I have a formula for h. How do you get from ABC to AHK? Here are the formulas, explain them. How do you get from AHK to ABC? You expand, equate the coefficients. So that's the algebraic thing that they should discover through this activity. Connect ABC to AHK, connect AHK to ABC. Connections to the graphs, when you get a chance to talk about the stretch factors and those sorts of things, always good to do. But for the most part, I think students will be happy just, hey, you want to draw the graph, just type the equation into Desmos and you're going to see a graph. Do know some of the important points on the graph, but I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time getting from an equation to a graph. Graphing utilities are just fine to do that. Getting from the graph back to the equation is a good thing to do. So that's quiz I-5. Maybe we review this next Tuesday. So we'll do this activity on Thursday, November 18th, then Tuesday, November 23rd is the time for quiz I-5 to do. But for the most part, I think students will be happy just, hey, you want to draw the graph, just type the equation into Desmos and you're going to see a graph. Do know some of the important points on the graph, but I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time getting from an equation to a graph. Graphing utilities are just fine to do that. Getting from the graph back to the equation is a good thing to do. So that's quiz I-5. Maybe we review this next Tuesday. So we'll do this activity on Thursday, November 18th, then Tuesday, November 23rd is the time for quiz I-5. Quiz I-5 is we're going to show you the picture of a parabola. You need to write its equation. I'm going to pull up the Moles homework here. Okay, here's quiz I-5. So get students used to writing down an equation when they see the graph. So again, two kind of big ideas here. ABC, AHK, which is the one you want to use. They're probably going to want to use AHK because you get two answers really easily. Here's the vertex, you know the H and the K. Minus sign, x plus 1 squared plus 0. So now you've got the H and the K, now you need to find the A. I take them through two processes to get the answer. Most of them want to do it algebraically. I do remind them of the visual. This is a stretched parabola. -1. X equals 2. I've gone to the right 3. When I go to the right 3, I'm supposed to go up 9. So I use that as the standard. I'm expecting my graph to go up 9, but I didn't. I only went up 4.5. And so my stretch factor, standard is 9, actual is 4.5, actual divided by standard, 4.5 divided by 9. This graph is half as tall as it should be. A is a half. Most students are going to want to just do the plug-in thing. So remind them, hey, you did this to find the B in the y equals mx plus b form. Here's an x, here's a y, here's an h, here's a k. Plug those four things into this equation. You need to find the A. You have everything except for the A. You solve that equation for the A. You know the A. You can write down the equation. This is another activity that I tend to split up. Good to get one group working on question 1. You can have a different group working on question 2. You can have a different group working on question 3. Maybe save question 4 for a little bit further in. Maybe once the group 2 people get done, they can go to question 4. And notice that question 4 is a lot harder. Maybe you want to give somebody else the graphing experience as well. Drawing the graph. Question 5 I tend not to assign, and we just come back to it toward the end. They're not going to do anything more sophisticated than just pick an X, find a Y, calculate a bunch of dots, connect the dots. It's really better in question 3 because at least they know where the vertex is so they can get started there. And question 3 leads to question 6. So again, I'm probably going to start this by having some groups work on question 1, some groups work on question 2, some groups work on question 3. So some of them are doing the graph transformation stuff to draw the graph, see what the graph looks like. Some of them are playing around with the graph to see what the equation might look like. Some of them are doing the algebraic stuff, and then kind of bring them together and share ideas and get that stuff. So again, the outcome here is at the end of the day, if they can have at least FOIL this out to get this set of equations and recap activity 5A so that they can see the graph transformation stuff. If you need enough time to review for the exam, it's fine if you can come back to questions 4, 5, 6 on Tuesday, take the quiz then. This is the last big activity. After Thanksgiving, we will then add in the root form, the factored form, and students might be making some connections there. But if we can get every student through this activity, that should be enough for them to start digging into comprehensive writing assignment number 2.